Hey guys, I wanted to do another video to kind of explain a little bit more what I was talking about yesterday. I was really upset yesterday because I was stressing out about keeping a roof over our heads. So, if you're following this kind of like little series, it started with the video that says they almost killed my dog. And that was a shelter that the shelter that I got him from 3 years ago. I adopted him 3 years ago. And when I saw him, I thought, what a handsome boy. And he was pretty well behaved. I took him for a walk. I didn't have any problem. Took him home. I began to see that he had some issues with sometimes wanting to be a little dominant. And then he had triggers like he spray bottles, you can't have them out, you have to put them under the sink. Somebody might have maybe was trying to train him with spray bottles, or maybe was hurting him, I don't know, but he freaks out about spray bottles, brooms, mops. He'll go after him like a maniac, but he's not mean to people at all, but he sometimes can act a little bit like I'm in charge, So, but anyway, that didn't last very long, and I learned how to deal with him, and I just loved on him, and we're best friends and super super close. And I have another dog, Purity, who is my husky, and she's mellow as could be, so they get along great. And um, as long as Solomon, he's super protective. So being in a place like a hotel that we're in right now is not the best environment at all because he gets stressed out because everybody he sees coming out the doors, he thinks this is his territory. It's upsetting to him. When I first got him, I had just got separated from my husband because of alcohol and anger issues, and I went up to my land by myself, this little piece of land that we had, and it was rough. And I bought a little RV and I started developing it. I got as far as electric and septic, and I was moving and a shed that is going to turn into a little house. And I made a fence for the dogs, and except for the lady next door who was afraid of pit bulls and gave me a hard time sometimes, like worrying about him getting off the leash. One time he did get off and he chased her and her dog on the golf cart, but he didn't bite them at all. She tackled him to the ground, tied him to a tree, but she still, even though I apologized and said, I'd be more careful, whatever, she still called the police. But the police didn't even give me an aggressive dog ticket. They put him down as a nuisance dog and said, just be careful, that doesn't happen again. So anyway, she was kind of a pain in the neck. But other than that, we were happy and peaceful up on our land until my son had a crisis in Florida, which caused me to have to leave my land and live in Florida with whatever money I had, and I had to start out in Airbnbs because it wasn't like I could just pick up a lease down there. That's not easy to do, especially with two restricted breed dogs. So anyway, worked super hard to keep a roof over our head down there in Airbnbs, help my son through a crisis which took a long time and a lot of resources. I ended up having to sell my land and my RV, and I don't regret any of it because I'll do whatever it takes to help my family, just like I'll do whatever it takes to help my dog. I mean, that's the way I live, like I'm not afraid to let go of things. It's not easy. Believe me, the sacrifice is hard sometimes. Like I've been through so much in the past 3 years, but that's what I'll do. I'll just do whatever it takes. So that's what I wanted to kind of explain, is that I'm not like somebody who gets depressed or is downtrodden or anything like that. I'm a super survivor, high functioning person that has just had a lot thrown at her pretty much her whole life and keeps going. But when I brought Solomon to the shelter, I was pretty burnt out. I had gotten sick that week. I was running out of Airbnbs to go to. We had been staying most of the time since we got back to North Carolina. My son came back with me. We both got jobs and we were both working hard, but again, the housing problem. So we found this one Airbnb that was kind of off the gridish. We got him to lower the price to a somewhat reasonable price, $1,600 a month for a cabin with no toilet, a compost toilet, which is really a bucket, and and no air conditioning. But hey, $1,600 a month is more doable than a full out Airbnb. So anyway, that was working out for a while, but then he wants to renovate and make it more updated and then make it into more of a moneymaker, which God bless him, he can, because it's a really nice, peaceful little cabin. It's perfect for the dogs. I had a porch. I could tie them out and we could just sit on the porch and watch the stars and the fireflies, and it was really nice. And that's what my dogs like. That's what we had up in on our land, and that's what they're used to. But this whole thing, having to go to Florida and do Airbnbs. Now I found places like that, some Airbnbs down there, and I also found these. A lot of the Spanish people down there will take their house and cut it up into like 4 little units, and they put these little fenced-in areas. So you have a private entrance and a fenced-in area. So that those worked out perfect. But then we got back here, and the slim pickings for Airbnbs, especially now that we're coming into the fall. So we were moving more often, which was making Solomon more stressed and me more stressed. And then I got sick on top of that. And it was just like one thing after another. You know, I've been walking on eggshells for a long time, transporting the dogs here and there and dealing with Solomon's, just little tendencies. He's a great, amazing, affectionate, loving dog, but he's definitely high strung and sensitive, and I have to walk around all that stuff. So anyways, so that's really our situation. Both me and my son are working full time, more than full time, and we were sharing the expenses for the Airbnbs and the hotel for a while, which was helping us to save a little bit so that we can get into a lease. But, well, I was actually letting him save more than me because I was trying to just get him established first, because he doesn't even have transportation. So he wanted to get something closer to town, and figure if we can get him established first, then he'll be all set. Then I can figure out my side of it. And I am working with my husband too. He has been helpful. It's been 3 years that we've been separated, but we have not got divorced, and he has changed, and he is trying, and he does care. So he is possibly part of the solution to the problem. We're looking at land right now, and we're trying to see if we can get it. And I've been praying all along, God, I only want what you want. So honestly, like, I haven't had many open doors except for the help from my husband. So maybe he's trying to restore our marriage. So anyway, we're working on that. But in the meantime, we're stuck in this hotel, and it's not a good environment for Solomon because he's very protective, and he walks out the door and people are walking out their door, or they're walking out the door with the dogs, and it's like he's constantly on alert, and he's like, he doesn't even pay attention to go to the bathroom because he's just watching everything. So I've been having to take them out once a day, put them in the car, take them to a park, bring them back here. He barks a lot in the car. It's stressful in the car. That's not the best thing for him either, but hey, whatever it takes to keep him alive, because that was just the most horrible thing that ever happened. I can't even believe that they did that to him, and he was so sick. He was so sick when I got him back, 3 days, and he was so stressed out, like diarrhea and poop and blood, like so sick, like probably on the brink of death just from the stress that they put him through. I don't know what exactly they did to him, except they threw him in the middle of a shelter with a bunch of dogs barking, like instead of like taking him somewhere separately and working with him, and then got mad at him for for the way he was reacting, and then wanted to kill him. So it's just sickening to even think about, but that's never going to happen again. But beware, if you haven't seen the first video, there's more on that. But anyway, just kind of just pray for us, because it's a complicated situation. Oh, credit issues because of the situation that happened with my son. That's another thing. So going through the application process and trying to get a rental with credit problems, and I do Uber Eats, which is not really like the best kind of job that they want to see. I was a teacher last year, but that was last year. Anyways, it's complicated. It's complicated. So we just need an open door. We need grace. We need mercy. We need a a miracle, really. So pray for us. Have a great day.